This is the Inferno Podcast, the official podcast of UAB Athletics. Blazer fans, this is the place each week to get an inside look into UAB Athletics. This episode of the Inferno Podcast is brought to you by the Alabama Department of Public Health and Pearl River Resort. Welcome into the Inferno Podcast. Landrum Roberts, so glad that you're with us. It is all things UAB Athletics. As always, we're going to remind you, today's episode rundown is brought to you by Legacy Credit Union, the official credit union of UAB Athletics. We're going to keep you up to date, get you caught up in case you missed it on all things happening on the South Side last week within the green and gold in the athletics program. Our Coach's Corner segment, we're going to feature women's basketball coach Randy Norton. Got some exciting news to share about Coach, and also take a look 8 games in at the Blazers and what we can expect moving forward. Our Student Athlete of the Week segment, we got a special treat for you. We had Yaxel Lindeborg on last week, but we've got our lightning round segment, which he thoroughly enjoyed. But we have 2 student athletes who are going to join us, and they are part of Randy Norton's women's basketball squad this year for the Blazers. All of that and so much more. It's the Inferno Podcast. Stay with us.
As UAB athletes, there's nothing we like more than the reward of pride.
Around here, we say we win as one.
One.
And to keep cheering for the green and gold.
There's one thing we need from you.
Ask your doctor about an RSV vaccine.
And help protect everyone.
Our littlest Blazers and our most seasoned fans are most at risk from RSV.
Ask about your RSV vaccine today.
So we can all stay in the game.
And win as one.
Welcome back into the Inferno Podcast. Landrum Roberts, so glad that you're with us. Today's weekly update is brought to you by the Alabama Department of Public Health. To help protect all UAB fans, ask your doctor about your RSV vaccine today so we can all win as one. Well, winning, that's exactly what the Blazers did last Friday. A couple of events to talk about. First, men's basketball. They get back on the winning side of things as they took on Prairie View A&M at Bartow Arena. Blazers get the win 95-66. They shot 10 of 23 from outside the arc. I think head coach Andy Kennedy would certainly take that, given our conversation last week and some of the Blazers' shooting woes early in the season. And how about Yaxel Lindeborg? He continues his dominance, another double-double, 17 rebounds for Yax, also 12 points there in the win. Coming up next, Arkansas State on Sunday at Bartow Arena, 5 o'clock the tip-off. And this Arkansas State team, no team to sneeze at. They've already knocked off the Memphis Tigers, very talented team, and a team that is picked to contend in American play this season. Also, women's basketball. Last Sunday, unfortunately, they fell to Auburn. It was a hard-fought effort. The Blazers played well, 69-62 in that final. Sarah Bersher, a team-high 15 points. The Blazers actually out-rebounded Auburn in that one. Coming up next, UAB is going to host Alcorn State at Bartow, 1 o'clock on Sunday there. And also, women's track, they open up their season at the Crossplex last Friday, and they got it done. You had 2 Blazers that actually placed in the top 4 in the high jump. And coming up next, they're going to be back at the Crossplex for the Blazer Invite. That takes place January 11th. So a lot of exciting things happening on the south side with UAB Athletics. Well, a guy that should be excited, and we'll tell you why, women's basketball coach Randy Norton joins us next. Welcome back into the Inferno Podcast. It is time for our Coach's Corner segment. We do it every single week. And Coach Randy Norton, head coach of the UAB women's basketball team, joining us. We remind you that today's Coach's Corner is always brought to you by Pepsi and Viva Health. Well, first of all, happy holidays, Coach. How are you?
Great. And really appreciate you having us on and a couple of our players today. That means a lot to us.
Well, it means a lot to us because this is a busy time of year. We got the holidays, but for a college basketball coach, when was the last time, first of all, that you had a normal holiday? I say normal in air quotes.
Really, there's no normal holidays. We didn't travel during Thanksgiving this year, but we still had to practice preparing for games coming up. And typically, if we're going to take a trip, which we do every other year, is over Thanksgiving. At Christmas time, we'll give our kids 3 days off, which is actually mandatory. The NCAA requires you to give them 3 straight days off, which we'll do. And then we've got quick turnaround to get ready for conference play when they come back on the 26th.
All right, first of all, and there's some congratulations that needs to go your way. You just signed a 2-year contract extension with UAB, so that's good news, right?
That's always great news, right?
You love that.
Yeah. So we've got 4 years counting this year, and, we love being here. I'm in my 12th year, which is hard to believe. Old Midwestern person, and my wife's from Chicago. I grew up in Iowa, Illinois area, and her being from Chicago, and now we're in our 12th year here. We absolutely love the city of Birmingham, and we love working at UAB.
All right. Also, back on December 1st, you collected 200 wins. So that's 200 career victories. You did it over Southern Miss. Now that you've had a little bit of time to go back and reflect, what does that mean to you?
Honestly, there's really no time to reflect. When you're in season, you're just thinking one game at a time, and very blessed to get 200 wins here, all at UAB. And I started a late start in the women's game on the Division I side. I didn't take over a head job until I was 53 years old. So 12 years here gives away my age, and so really blessed to get 200 and hope there's a lot more behind that.
Coach, you mentioned your background and where you came from. Not only are you a Midwesterner, but you played at a storied basketball program at Iowa. You were a part of a Final Four team, which is incredible. Not many people can say they've even been to a Final Four, much less been a part of a team that earned the right to go there. But you were also a dual sports star, and you were great on the diamond as well. But Lute Olson, can we go back to Lute Olson, and God rest his soul, what he meant to college athletics? I can remember watching him coach some of those Arizona teams here in Birmingham, but just a mainstay. And I don't know if there's so many great college basketball coaches we can think back on, but the Mount Rushmore of college basketball, Lute Olson's got to be right there.
Legendary. It's an interesting story. I almost didn't end up at Iowa. I was going to commit to Creighton. And back in those days, the head coach would fly in to sign. And so Coach Apke was supposed to fly in the next day, and I get a call from Coach Olson and Coach Banks, the baseball and basketball coach, and nobody was allowing me to play 2 sports. And Iowa wanted me for basketball, and they wanted me for baseball, but they did not want me to play both. And that was pretty much the way it was with all the other schools recruiting me. Well, the night before I was to sign, Coach Olson calls and says, could we come over to your house tonight, Coach Banks and I? So they come over. We sat in our living room for about 2 hours, and they agreed that I could come on a basketball scholarship and play both sports, which was really hard to do, but I'll never forget that. And Coach Olson was a true gentleman, one of the classiest coaches that you're ever going to meet. And what you saw on TV and the way he carried himself, that's just who he was and how he was all the time.
This is going to be an impossible question for you to answer, and maybe you will answer it honestly, but did you have a preference as a player, baseball or basketball?
Well, I loved them both. Probably have always loved basketball more, but I was probably, with my size and everything, I was probably a better baseball player, but I was really stubborn about it, and I wanted to give them both a try. And so at Iowa, I played both the first 2 years, and then after that, they put me on a full-ride baseball scholarship, which I was blessed to get, and I ended up the last 2 years focusing on baseball.
But you were there in the Montreal Expos organization. Parlez-vous français?
I never made it. I played in a lot of places,
Heck, I don't even know.
But never made it to Canada.
Can you speak any French?
No.
Okay. Well, nor can I, as you just learned right there. So coming from the Midwest, and we do want to talk about your family because your son, he is still involved in coaching. He is an assistant there at West Virginia, also playing at UAB and playing guard for 3 seasons, finished up his career at Drake, and that's another fine basketball program. We think about even great coaches and players that have come out of there, but being here in the South, what brought you to Birmingham?
Well, that's an interesting story. So I was at University of Missouri, and we had just built a brand new house. Really wasn't looking at going anywhere. I was the associate head coach. It was my wife's dream house. And I get a call from Jeff Wolbron, who was an assistant for Jared Haas on the men's side. And he said, I think that there's going to be an opening on the women's side. And I said, Jeff, I'm just really not familiar with the South or UAB or anything like that. And Jeff just raved about it. And I get a call from the athletic director. Long story short, end up coming down here and been down here 12 years. But that's how we ended up here. Really wasn't looking to go anywhere. Really loved working for Robin Pinchton at University of Missouri, and I was with her at Illinois State before that. So it's just amazing how, it's God's plans, not ours. And we ended up, here we are at UAB for 12 years.
You're exactly right, because for those who don't think that God has a sense of humor, he absolutely does. How was that conversation? First of all, you and your wife are still together, but she's got her dream house. You've just finished building it, Coach. How did you begin the conversation?
Wow. I said, well, I've got an opportunity to get a head job. And she's like, really, where? And I said, Birmingham, Alabama. And, all of our family's all back in the Midwest. And, she's a great coach's wife. There's a special place in heaven for coaches' wives, and she's always been supportive. And we picked up and moved, and when we moved here, I came down by myself. I've got 4 children, and our third child was going to be a senior there in Bloomington. I'm sorry. This is when we went to Mizzou. So when there's
You're a coach, we understand. There's a lot of steps along the way.
Well, I'll backtrack. So when I took the Mizzou job from Bloomington, I went down there with my youngest son, Nick, who was starting 9th grade. My third child was going to be a senior, and she wanted to try to repeat as a state championship back in Bloomington. So my wife and I had to be apart. And then when I took the job here, my youngest son, Nick, we brought him down here. I was hoping he'd want to go to high school down here. And I said, well, do you want to stay back in Columbia and finish there? Or do you want to come down here? And he goes, actually, I'd like to go back with all my friends in Bloomington, Illinois, and play there. So my wife, long story short, rented a basement so that she could be with my youngest son, Nick. They won a state championship, and then she came down the following year. So being a coach's wife is tough, and it's also hard to be apart from your family, but we always try to put our kids first, and we'll never regret that.
Growing up in the Midwest, had you ever been to Birmingham, Alabama, or the state of Alabama prior?
Only on the way to the beach. So when you're coming from Illinois, you go down 65, right, and as you're coming down, there's Birmingham off to the left on your way down, and it's off to the right on your way back. And so really never thought much about it, but that was the only time that I'd ever been to Birmingham.
And I'm just going from a lifestyle perspective, and we're going to get into the basketball side of things, but I talk to people all the time that had never been here or just passed it, as you said, going to the beach or heading somewhere else, and then they experience Birmingham and they go, wow, I was wrong about whatever misconception that I might have had about it.
100% wrong. It's Birmingham. Everybody I talk to is just it's a hidden gem, and the changes in Birmingham in just the past 5 or 6 years are incredible. So many great places to eat, so much entertainment. We find that out with a lot of our kids when they first come to Birmingham. They might be a little bit uncertain, and then once they've spent some time here, they really fall in love with the city.
Yeah, and the thing about Birmingham, and it's maybe tough to describe to people because I've lived here most all of my life, except for going away to college for 5.5 years, and that's a whole nother story. But you get enough of the big city feel, but it's still some of that small town and not too big that people in the South seem to really, really like.
I think that sums it up, and that's exactly what I tell people when they ask about Birmingham. We realize we're in a city, but you really don't feel like you are. And it's just people are extremely friendly. it's easy to navigate and get around the city of Birmingham as well.
It certainly is. Okay, let's turn into the basketball because there's so many things that I want to ask you about. First of all, let's go back to you having to travel to Auburn to take on the Tigers this past Sunday. It was a game of runs, and what we saw there in the second half is Auburn was eventually able to get that last run, unfortunately, and time running out, and your team falling 69-62, but falling to 5-3. But playing that game, what did you learn about this team for this season?
I learned that at times we can be really, really good, and we had some stretches against Auburn where we were in control of the game, and I honestly felt like we were just about ready to pull away and win by double digits. Multiple times we were up 6 or 7 with the basketball, and I felt like if we could have just got one more basket, we were ready to break it open. Unfortunately, in the fourth quarter, we still had a lead by maybe 2 or 3, and then about halfway through, they went on a nice run, and we just couldn't counter that. But really proud of how our kids battled back because we got off to a horrible start. I mean, they were up 14-2 or something like that, and we had to call timeout, regroup, and our girls settled down, came back, took the lead, and we played really good basketball there. But I think what we've learned about our team is that it was almost like we were caught off guard that we were leading at Auburn. And I think the next opportunity they get like that, they're gonna finish it off and close out the game. It just came down to we did not close the game out.
Okay, and we have to get into it because it's all over intercollegiate athletics, and every coach that we have on, we have to talk about it. All right, Coach, this is almost like a therapy session. All right, Coach, the inception of NIL and the transfer portal, and I don't know if we'll ever fully get used to it. I talk about it for a living every day and trying to keep up with the college football portal that just opened. It's almost a migraine waiting to happen. But navigating it as a coach in your position, how have you adjusted?
It's one of those, I was talking to a couple coaches my age, and we were talking about it, and they were complaining about it. And I said, listen, are you going to be a dinosaur? You can either be a dinosaur or if you're going to stay in the business, you got to adapt and adjust. And you got to change your thinking. And if these are the rules and the parameters, then we all have to figure out how to be successful within that. And that's just life. And so that's what we've tried to do. And, we've lost a couple good kids to the portal, but you're going to talk to 2 incredible young ladies that we got out of the portal as well. So
has it changed the way that you recruit? Are you looking for, and maybe I can frame this for our viewers and our listeners, has it changed the type of kid that you go after thinking, you know what, this is a kid I think we could keep around for 3 or 4 years?
No.
Okay.
No, because we're going to bring in kids, and I feel like our staff does a great job of developing players. And so our players are going to get better, improve. And if they get the opportunity to go make money, how can you blame somebody if they're going to make $50,000 to $100,000 to go to another program and set themselves up? You can't be mad at the kids. And so the way I look at it, I'm an old high school boys basketball coach. You take 1 year at a time, and whoever you get, that's who you're going to coach. You're going to try to have and so you have to take 1 year at a time. And to your point, you can't get too far ahead thinking like, well, what if? You just got to say, okay, let's get the best team we can this year, and then let's go out and get them to play as good a basketball as we can and develop them on and off the court. And then we'll have to do the same thing probably the following year. But if you get caught up wondering, well, are they going to transfer, or do we have to treat them differently? I think that you're going down a really dark hole that you don't want to go down. The way our staff looks at it, we're going to try to put together the best team each year, and then we're going to coach the heck out of them and help prepare them for life. And that's our philosophy.
We're continuing our conversation with UAB women's head basketball coach Randy Norton here on the Inferno podcast. When you turn on the film of a prospective student athlete you're recruiting, whether it's a kid that might have entered the portal, might be out there looking, or a kid at the high school level, what is Coach Norton looking at first when he looks at the film? What are you looking for first in that potential future Blazer?
Skill. I love skilled basketball players, high IQ, toughness. We love recruiting. Most of our kids come from winning programs. I just think the more kids that you can bring to your program that are used to winning, it makes losing a lot harder for them. But probably the skill, team basketball, high IQ, toughness, and winners.
We're talking to Coach Andy Kennedy, and I was telling him, I kind of related it to the NBA. And the NBA that I grew up on and the NBA that you did, the game has changed. And now it's a lot of analytics, and it seems like, and I know it's not in actuality, but it seems like it's either a dunk, a layup, or somebody firing one up, no matter who it is from the outside. To me, women's basketball isn't quite there yet. Can you describe some of the differences you see every day in the men's and the women's game at the D1 level?
Well, I feel like I'll talk about what we talk about and what we've been talking about. We look for skilled players that can shoot the basketball. We look for team players, not necessarily, like on the men's side, you have a lot of one-on-one, just unbelievable talent that are just going to break their man down. And if you're a really athletic, skilled offensive player, it's really hard to guard one-on-one. And on the women's side, I feel like John Wooden once said that he enjoyed watching women's basketball more than men because he felt like the women's game was a little bit more pure. It was a little bit more team-oriented. And I think that's probably the biggest difference. But also there's some men's teams that play team-oriented basketball too. But I just think when you really look at the big picture, I feel like on the women's game, you're going to see more of a team game.
You just said something about Coach John Wooden. You're from Iowa. I wanted to bring this up. Former Iowa Hawkeye, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, now on to the WNBA. The ratings reflected it. Everyone was really, really interested. I'm not saying all of a sudden, but you were garnering more eyes at the college level in the women's game, and then that moved on to the WNBA. What were your thoughts on Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, the good, the bad, but ultimately what it brought to women's basketball?
It's all good. I mean, everything that happened, that transpired was all positive. Both Caitlin and Angel were, both of their college teams were incredible. And then when they went to the WNBA, they brought that attention. And I think what happened was you had a large audience follow them, and they got to see the WNBA and college women's basketball and see how good it actually was. And those two brought more attention to the game, which now people could really see that what a product was being put on the floor. I mean, it's an incredible product. When you sit down and start watching the WNBA and you start studying these top women's games, it's a beautiful game to watch.
Caitlin Clark, as far as the shooter, best you've ever seen?
Best I've ever seen. And the swag and confidence that she plays with is, I've never seen anything like it.
I haven't either. I had some incredible shooting sessions in my driveway growing up, Coach. I could shoot it. And I shot it really, really well when nobody was guarding me. And I won hot shot contests at basketball camps and free throw and three-point. But the fact that she can do it at an elite level with some of the face guarding and some of the spots where she pulls up and lets it fire, it's incredible.
Yeah, and misses don't faze her. I mean, she flushes that missed shot down the toilet, and she's ready for the next shot. The other thing that is so fun to watch about her is her passing. I mean, just an outstanding passer. So, yeah, I think the two of them just did amazing things for our women's game, and we've got great momentum right now, and it's never been hotter in women's basketball right now. So I hope people will continue to watch and come out and support our game.
Coach good, feel good. That's my approach, and I'm going wardrobe here. Now, are you more of the let me wear kind of like what you've got on right now? You go pullover, you go in a pair of slacks, a pair of sneakers. What is Coach Randy Norton opting for on the sideline?
Well, we'll start with the shoes. I'm going to have some, hopefully some sharp tennis shoes on.
Shoe game is important these days.
It is. You got to have a shoe game. But I've become the quarter zip. I mean, for years I was in the suit or the sport coat and tie, and I look back on those days and think how uncomfortable we were And after a game, I'd be drenched. And so it's much more comfortable just to, I think, look sharp. And our coaches, we all try to match. And you see some people out there, though, bringing back the coat and tie.
Look, I'm all about promotion. Call me the P.T. Barnum. I've got a heart of P.T. Barnum. Kim Mulkey. Now, she is flamboyant, and there is a lot of dazzle on what she pulls it off, and some amazing. And I would hate to think how much those things cost. Could we get the Randy Norton equivalent if you would agree to do it and wear it on the sidelines? If we found someone who would do it,
I'm going to say probably not. No, really, just not my personality. I really don't like the attention. I want the attention on my team. I want them to watch that. I don't need that. I'm pretty plain that way.
You think there's some other coaches not at UAB that would probably take us up on that offer?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I could name just a few. We continue with Coach Randy Norton, UAB women's head basketball coach. We're going to talk to two of your players, and it's the Bersher sisters, and they're coming up. But I do want to ask you, as far as the rest of the makeup of your team and moving forward, going into conference play coming up here pretty soon, is there a snapshot, a 30,000-foot view of what you're expecting? I know it's tough because you've heard about who's got who coming back and what it looks like from a year ago, but any kind of snapshot you could give Blazer fans?
Well, I'm just going to talk about our team. They're very, very skilled. They're unselfish. They play their tails off. It's one of those things. We're still learning about our team. We brought in 5 kids out of the portal and 1 true freshman. We had several girls out last year with injuries. And so bringing them all together, we're still they're still getting used to each other. As coaches, we're trying to figure out how to put them in the best position. And I'm going to say that's probably everybody's in that same situation across the country, because your makeup of your team now, it's about half and half with new players coming in. So I think the non-conference is really all about figuring your team out so that when you hit conference, you're ready to roll.
Coach, we've got the Bersher sisters. They're going to be joining us. If you're good to hang out, we'll continue to talk college basketball and some other fun stuff.
Absolutely.
Coach Randy Norton, UAB women's head basketball coach, as we continue here on the Inferno podcast. Welcome back into the Inferno podcast, continuing to be joined by UAB head women's basketball coach Randy Norton. 2 of his standout players, they are, teammates by choice, sisters by birth. It's the Bersher sisters, Tracy Bersher, Sarah Bersher. Thanks for joining us, guys. How are you?
Good, how are you? Thanks for having us.
Doing great. Happy holidays.
Yes, happy holidays.
Have we already shopped for one another?
Already got all the gifts.
See, I'm just going to jump into the holiday questions first.
To get her. She has all mine planned out. I have like 1 or 2 more to get her.
Are you the last minute? Because I'm different than my siblings. I'm the last minute. I enjoy the brick and mortar store. Siblings, they like to go ahead and they like to order online. I like walking around, and even though I complain about it every year, being out in the brick and mortar, kind of the sights and the sounds, the long lines, and getting frustrated.
Yeah, I kind of didn't know what I was going to get them. We went the day after Black Friday, and we were just kind of walking around. I was like, oh, they're going to love that, and I'll get that for them. Then she kind of like plans out. She's like, what do you want? Can I have your list? I'm more just kind of like, if I see it and I think they like it, I'll get it for them. But
she kind of flies by the seat of her pants, and I'm more type A. You have to, have it done before.
Well, you're great, because I don't even know and maybe as you get older, I don't know if my siblings, if they'll get me something, but it's not a whole list. Do you give each other ideas of what you like?
Yeah, well, we'll like take notes of like what each other has like talked about throughout the year too. And I mean, obviously the stuff that's trending and stuff that we think that they would like. So
we like a lot of the same things, so I think it's easy. And basketball stuff, it's easy too. So
both of you are forwards. You play forward. You've got 6'2" and 6 foot. Is that accurate? Because we had Yaxel Lindeborg on, And I said 6'9", and he said, well, it's 6'10". I don't know if Coach Kennedy agreed, but I was not going to argue with Yaks. Is 6'2" and 6 foot, is that accurate right now? We're good on the media guide?
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Okay. Tracy, you started your career at Oklahoma State. Then you transferred here to UAB. Sarah, University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley. First of all, Tracy, Oklahoma State to UAB. What brought you to come play for Coach Norton?
I think mainly being able to play with my sister. They gave us an opportunity to do that. A lot of schools, they wanted one of us but didn't want the other, and I think it was really important for us to come together at that time. We had both kind of had a really rough year the year before at our previous schools. So I think just having family and having my sister there, and it's easy for our parents to be able to come to all of our games and stuff. But also, on the other hand, our staff's awesome. They're family-oriented. They're all Christians, so it's like that was really important for me too.
Coach, what stood out to you? First, we'll start with Tracy. When you turned the film on, I'm sure that you had already had a pretty good idea of what you were going to get.
Well, like we talked earlier, I turned the film on, saw how she could shoot the basketball at 6'2". I mean, these two are two of the best shooters I've ever been around. And so I started watching her, and then we started to check out and found out that they come from an amazing family, high character kids, which you got to bring in to have the culture that we want. You have to bring in young ladies like them. But Tracy, when I first watched her, I saw the way she could shoot the ball, great passer, and just great IQ.
Sarah, you're a couple of years older, kinesiology major, as is Tracy, University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley. What brought you to UAB?
Pretty much the same reasons. Like she said, they gave us an incredible opportunity of wanting to play together. In high school, we won a state championship together, and we knew that we could be good together, so we wanted to, bring that back. And just the family atmosphere, obviously, that they are very big on family. And, I mean, bringing two sisters in was something that was super important, and I'm just glad that we got the opportunity to be back together again.
I know there had to be some battles, and for me, it didn't matter what the temperature was. I had a goal in my driveway, and year-round I was out there and I was shooting. And my mom taught in another school that we didn't live in that city, but she wanted us there in the school system. So a lot of my friends were in another city. Before I could drive, I had to entertain myself, and a lot of it was just days shooting basketball, a lot of long nights, early morning shooting basketball. Where did you own your craft? As far as learning to shoot, was it a shooter's eye? Did you come from a family of natural-born basketball players?
Well, our mom and our dad both played in high school. Both probably could have went to college to play, but didn't get the chance. And so Dad kind of taught us how to shoot. And then it's funny you say that, though, because there was a point in time where he wouldn't play horse with us anymore. He was like, I'm not losing to y'all, so I'm just not going to play you. So it was just funny. We've had lots of battles in the backyard and in the gyms, anywhere we could find a gym, just being in there and just trying to work as hard as we can to be the best shooters.
Yeah, our dad has really helped us create our shot and stuff. Even until today, like in the games, he'll be watching on TV and be like, you didn't flick your wrist all the way, or you're not locking your arm, or you're not doing this, or you're leaning forward, or on your free throw, you faded away. Like, he'll give us tips, still. And I love that because normally, we would just go to the gym and he'd be like, he'd watch us shoot free throws or shoot, and he'd be like, this is what's wrong. But so, yeah, he's been awesome in helping us do that.
Coach Norton, is it always green light for
Absolutely.
the Bershers?
Yeah. If they don't shoot, they're going to get taken out.
What a great approach.
Yeah.
And to know that and having your coach saying, look, I trust you, trust your ability, trust your judgment. Where does it come in for you guys, though? Is it time score, situational, or is it like some players, they never saw a shot that they didn't like?
Sometimes it just depends. There's been a few times where I'm, in retrospect, kind of that probably wasn't the best shot to take. So, you got to learn from that from the next upcoming games. So sometimes it's just more about how you, react in game and just be like, well, I think this is a good shot. I haven't been open like this in a long time. So, hey, I'm finally open. Let's knock it down.
Tracy, is it the same for you?
Sort of. I'm more I probably don't shoot it as much as
You're more conservative, I can tell.
Yeah, I take more, I'm a smart shooter. I take good shots. I don't like to take bad shots. And I know people are probably like, oh, you can't really take bad shots because how much, your high percentage. But I got in trouble this week at film for not shooting. So Coach Martin kind of got on to me a little bit. But
well, you got to shoot more.
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is she was standing at the logo, and Coach Martin was like, shoot it.
Well, they can shoot it from the logo.
From the logo?
Yeah.
So is it top of the perimeter? Is that what, theoretically, is that your highest percentage shot? Just looking straight at it?
Yeah, I get a lot of shots off pick and rolls at the top of the key, so I think that's probably one of my higher percentages.
I think mine here recently have been corner threes. Majority of, kick out to the corner, boom, after they helped. So I think we have a little bit of a different role whenever we do shoot the ball because like she said, pick and pop is her jam, trail three is her jam. And then mine's kind of, slice and dice trying to find the open man.
For those that are watching and they're interested, obviously, in playing and joining Coach Norton and what he has built and you guys have built with the UAB women's basketball program, Tracy, start with you. Just some of the things, if there was a selling point to playing in this basketball program, first and foremost, what would you like for those prospective student athletes to know?
I just would like them to know, you're going to come into a family atmosphere. You're going to have great teammates, great coaching staff, and I think a lot of student athletes kind of take that for granted, your coaches and how good of people they are off the court. We always have Christmas parties, and we're always welcome at parents like in Taryn's and Coach Martin and Norton's houses, and we babysit their kids, so that we truly are family. And I think that that's really, really important for student athletes to know coming in. It's just a really good selling point.
What about you, sir?
I think that kind of piggybacking off of that a little bit, but I just think that they truly care for you about yourself, not just for basketball. We'll have meetings and they'll be like, well, how did this go? And then how's your sister? And she's not even going here, and they're still wondering how she is. And so it's just, they really care, and they just make it fun because you don't want to come to work every day with people you don't like. And so these people are easy to like, so it just makes it a lot more fun.
That's right. And in this culture and within your program, and it's obvious you scream Family Guy, but this is your family. These are your kids. You have made commitments to their parents, their guardians, their loved ones. I'm going to take care of your child. They're still someone's child. And I applaud that because it's obvious that family element, that means a lot to you, and you can tell it because it's reciprocated by two of your players here. As far as Christmas and celebrating some of that, have you brought family traditions from Iowa growing up and being in that part of the country here to the Deep South?
You mean with our team?
Yeah.
Well, we have them over for a Christmas party every year, and it's a lot of fun. We play games. We got some different things we're going to do this year that's going to surprise you. But it's just a great time to be together. And then we're fortunate enough that they get to go home and spend Christmas with their families for 3 days. It's not very long, but I just think it really helps them because most of our kids are extremely close to their families, and it just gives them just enough that they can get through the rest of the season being apart. But most of their dad and uncle just all of a sudden they'll just show up and be in the front row, and
that's awesome.
Doesn't matter where we're at, they'll just show up and be there. So they're very supportive. But these two are just incredible young women, and they represent everything about our program on the court, in the classroom, out in the community, and how they live their lives.
This is a tough question. It's a personal question.
Okay.
Star on top of tree or angel?
We have a star.
You know what? I grew up in an angel household, but we have a star. My wife loves it, and you know what? Yeah. I love it too, honey.
It's really not exactly. It's not my decision. What do you want up there this year?
My mom was straight angel lady. She wanted that angel and the star. It was like, no, that's what they do up north. Yeah. But I like the star.
Yeah, we have a star.
Best part about it, my wife actually puts it on top of the tree while I'm doing stuff outside. What about you guys? Was it star or angel growing up?
I think we've
had a star.
We've kind of rotated too, though. I remember this one specific angel that we have. She's wearing this tan little dress, but we do have a star that lights up. So I think it kind of.
I think it just depends
flip-flops
on which kid gets to choose.
Were you guys obsessed over ornaments? Because I get in trouble. There are certain ornaments that were keepsakes from my childhood. They have to go on the back of the tree that nobody can see because my wife has a design. It's a whole thing, and it looks beautiful. Were you?
Thankfully, our mom just let us do it. She was just kind of glad that we were staying out of trouble and not fighting if we were putting the tree up. So it was kind of one of those things where we got to be a little artistic with our, choice of where we placed our ornaments.
I'm just swiveling. I have so many questions, and this is all around Christmas traditions. But being there from corn country, sorry, I'm going to stereotype. Yeah. Did you do the popcorn on the string?
No.
With a needle? I never done that either. They do it in movies all the time.
No. for me, Christmas and birthday, I'm as surprised as everybody else that's receiving the gifts because my wife does all the shopping. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's an awesome gift. And so, yeah, my wife does it all.
What about Fort Smith, Arkansas? Would we do the popcorn on the string?
No, I don't think we ever did.
No? Okay.
Just lights.
All right. Do you have anything you would like to tell your coach? He cares a lot about you, but anything before he leaves and we have some fun here on the set.
We appreciate what you do, even if we don't say it enough.
Yes, thank you for allowing us the opportunity to be able to play for you and your staff and together. We really appreciate it.
We love doing it, and we love coaching you.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm choked up. Coach, congratulations.
Right,
thanks for joining us. Merry Christmas to you and your family.
You too. Thank you.
Coach Randy Norton, the Bersher's sisters. We're going to do lightning strikes twice, our lightning round. You're going to be the first to ever do it.
Yay.
Don't screw it up. I know you won't. Inferno Podcast, we continue.
Trent Dilfer here, head football coach of the UAB Blazers. I want to tell you about my friends at Legacy Credit Union. Legacy began as University Credit Union in 1955 and remains committed to UAB faculty, students, alumni, and fans. Not only do they support the Birmingham community, but they are also proud sponsors of UAB and UAB athletics. Visit LegacyCreditUnion.com and find out why you should become a member today.
Welcome back into the Inferno Podcast, episode 17. Landrum Roberts. We continue to be joined by the Bersher's sisters. We got Tracy and Sarah hanging out. There's, 2 years age difference between you two, originally hailing from Fort Smith, Arkansas. By the way, I've never been to Fort Smith, Arkansas, but Elvis Presley, the haircut. Do you know that he got his military haircut right there in Fort Smith, Arkansas?
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that either.
Double check me on Wikipedia.
We'll have to.
Is there a water park that starts with Parrot?
Yeah, Parrot Island.
Parrot Island. See, I'm right about that.
Yeah.
There is a U.S. Marshals Museum there in Fort Smith. You've never been, have you?
Never been.
Don't feel bad. I grew up in Birmingham, and I will admit this on this show. I just visited Vulcan a couple of years ago.
We visited the Vulcan within a year of being here.
Literally, where I live, have been looking up his whatever they call that thing that wraps around his waist. It's not a skirt. It's not a kilt. It's something. But just actually went and made a whole day out of it.
It's
one
nice,
day.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
ran
really
the trail,
cool.
went up, walked the tower, went through the museum.
I will say we haven't ran the trail, but
Oh, you got to run the trail. It's the whole Vulcan experience, right?
we have to.
Okay, that's all I really knew about Fort Smith. But as far as Alabama, you guys like it here in Birmingham? You fallen in love with the city?
Yeah, it's taken us a while to get used to it because although we say we're from Fort Smith, we graduated high school in Fort Smith, but we grew up in Glenwood, Arkansas, which is south of 30 minutes south of Hot Springs. So we're from a town of 2,000 people maybe, so this is like really big to us.
Total side note, Kahlua has apparently got a factory there in Fort Smith that employs 200 people. Didn't know that. Anyways. All right, it is time for our lightning round, and we're going to call this Lightning Strikes Twice. How well you two know each other. Okay? I'm going to ask a question. You're both going, and keep your eyes on your own board there. Okay? No cheating.
Can't promise.
I'm going to ask a question, and you're going to say who it best describes. Okay. Is it Tracy or is it Sarah? And we'll see how many times you guys can come to an agreement, okay?
I don't know how much.
Not many times, probably.
Yeah. Not many? Okay.
Yeah.
All
We'll
right.
see.
Are we ready? Here we go. Who got into more trouble growing up? I'm going to make my own guesses here and see if I'm right. All right, Sarah, let's see your answer. You said Tracy. Tracy says Tracy. Oh, I was wrong on that. All right, you guys are 1 for 1. Thanks for being on. Really, Tracy?
I'm the middle child, so.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah.
She got blamed for a lot.
Yeah.
They kind of double teamed me, and then I retaliated, and I got.
That's exactly right. Yeah, people don't understand where we're coming from.
They don't.
I'm with you. All right. Who was the oldest? Sarah. Okay, so we both agree that you're the oldest.
Yes.
But people think I'm the oldest.
People think you're the oldest?
People-
Why is that?
yes.
I guess I just look older.
I don't know. It's always been
Maybe
that.
you're just more mature.
Maybe.
I'm kidding, Sarah.
No, you're not kidding.
When we were kids, when we were closer in like high, people would be like, "Oh, so y'all are twins?" And we were like, "No." And they'd be like, "Oh, so she's older?" And I'm the oldest.
You're not twins, but they were identical twins that I grew up with, and I'm not kidding you. Had an adult ask them, "Do you ever wake up in the morning and think that you're the other one?" Is that not the weirdest question ever? He was totally serious. Yeah. All right. Who is funnier? Is it Tracy or is it Sarah? All right. Show me your answers. Sarah says Sarah and Tracy says Tracy.
I think
we're funny in our own way.
Yeah.
We're funny in different aspects.
Some people find one of us funny and some people find the other one funny. So it's just, although we are a lot alike, we are very different at the same time.
Who has more of the dry sense of humor?
I feel like Tracy does.
Tracy?
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah.
But also, I feel like I make funnier jokes than you do.
Like I make funnier jokes, so.
Well, we'll just have to agree to disagree.
We don't do that very well.
We might come back to give us your best joke at the end of this segment. Who is the better three-point shooter? Is it Tracy or is it Sarah? We're not going by stats. We're going about growing up, a lot of driveway battles, gym matchups.
The answer's this.
Oh, I can tell Tracy is really confident. Tracy is voting Tracy, and Sarah is voting Sarah, maybe Tracy. Okay. All right. That's fair.
It depends on the day.
Okay. And that's true. But you both have shooter's eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Who started playing basketball first? Was it Tracy or was it Sarah?
I actually don't know if I know the answer to that, but I'm going to say.
Are we going to have to phone family?
We may have to.
Sarah says it was Sarah, and Tracy, you said it was Sarah?
She's older.
Well, that would make sense, but it's not always the case, right?
I started when I was like 3.
Yeah, we were babies, so I don't even.
Okay. Who has the better music taste? Which one of you has the better music taste? And then I want to know what your go-to is. Sarah says Sarah, and Tracy says Tracy. All right, Sarah, we'll start with you. What's your music taste?
I really like country music.
Okay. Favorite artist?
Well, my Apple Music Wrapped was Morgan Wallen was my number 1.
Okay.
So that's a good one. But I would have to go Riley Green is probably my favorite.
Riley Green?
Mm-hmm.
Saw him in concert. It was really cold in Orange Beach.
She's really good. I love country music too. She's more old school country. I'm kind of more the new. She likes more like Chris Stapleton. I love Chris Stapleton too, but
Chris Stapleton, is that really old? I was thinking like George Strait.
I think, well, she means kind of like, it's like a different type of country. It's more like honky tonk country compared to like pop country.
What about bro country?
I haven't tried that one.
No? You know, where they kind of talk and they're not really singing.
That's Riley Green.
Well, I mean, sometimes. I mean, he played at UAB in San Juan.
Yeah.
He kind of does that. Like,
yeah, Sam Hunt.
hey, I was just thinking about you here. And then he just goes into
Yeah.
Okay, I won't even try to do it. All right, we'll continue. Who takes the longest to get ready? Sarah says Tracy, and Tracy says Tracy. Is it hair? Is it makeup? Is it deciding? Or is it procrastinating?
All of the above.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm more of like, I have to, first of all, we kind of got in this argument right here.
Actually.
Really?
Yeah.
She yells at me because she's like, hurry up. I'm like, if you keep yelling at me, you're going to make me slow down because I'm going to have to yell back at you.
Well, it was 2 o'clock and we needed to leave at 2:20, and I was like, Tracy, we have 20 minutes, and her hair was soaking wet, and I'm like, you have way too much hair,
Well,
like it's not going to get dry.
Guess who wants to get in the shower first? And she has less hair to blow dry. I need to be blow drying my hair while she's in the shower.
Well, okay. I would try to settle this, but there's no way to do that. My wife takes forever to get ready, and there are times where I catch her, and it's like 30-minute spans.
Mm-hmm.
You're not getting ready. There's nothing. What are you doing? Is this meditation? Do you have to meditate before we put the straightening iron on the hair?
She was trying on her new jeans that she just got in the mail.
Okay, that's understandable. No, that's understandable. Totally understandable. All right. Who is more likely to win a season of Survivor?
This one's hard.
Sarah says Tracy. That's a compliment. And Tracy says Tracy. You got survivor skills?
Deer hunting skills.
Deer hunting skills?
Yeah.
Bow hunter? Gun? Shooting house, tree stand?
Out the house.
We have a big front yard. We shoot out the front.
What?
Out the front door.
You're one of those families.
Well, we have one of those.
We have a tree stand.
Yeah.
I don't like to hunt by myself most of the time. I like to sleep.
But you have the deer that walk up to the front yard and you just cap them.
You just put some corn out for them, and you can do that.
You had it so easy.
There's a few times where we'll pull up in the driveway and have the gun in the car with us, and they're there waiting on us. That's dinner.
Well, okay, and that's fair. Growing up, it was a lot of 4 a.m. wake ups for me, and really, really cold, and then about a mile and a half in the dark walking to 20-foot tree stand that probably needed to be refurbished.
We're blessed to live where we hunt, so.
Yes, you are. All right, who is the better cook? Is it Tracy or is it Sarah? And food is kind of my thing, so I want to know. All right, Sarah says Sarah, and Tracy says Tracy. All right, Sarah, what's your go-to?
I make really good salmon.
Okay. You go cedar plank. Are we doing Himalayan salt? How are we doing the salmon?
We do honey, lemon, and garlic. Just put it all on there, put it in the oven. Just, get it real nice and juicy, and with some rice and some. Typically, I like to go green beans with it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
You go pilaf? You go with flavored rice?
Yeah. So, typically it just depends. Here lately, I've been doing brown rice and quinoa, just trying to make it a little bit
That's
healthier.
good. Yeah, that's good.
So, it was pretty good.
Yeah. Quinoa, that's power food. It's good stuff. What about you, Tracy?
I'm more of like the Thanksgiving dinner maker.
Okay.
Like I help my mom a lot in the kitchen on those days. She is a really good cook, Sarah is, but she's a better baker than she is a cook.
I would agree with that, though.
Are you second guessing your answer?
No, she's a better baker than I am. I'm a better cook than she is.
Okay.
So I like to cook mashed potatoes, some type of chicken, grilled chicken, and I normally do green beans.
You go gravy with them taters?
No.
No?
We're not really a big gravy fan. We do chocolate gravy.
Oh, chocolate gravy with the biscuits? You do tomato gravy too? What about red eye gravy? There's all kinds of different gravies. Come on, ladies.
Chocolate gravy's the best.
Chocolate gravy? So I'm not really big into sweets, so I'd rather have like sawmill gravy.
Some people have a different opinion. Like, we grew up with every Sunday, Mom would make chocolate gravy. And so, like, we're used to that, where other people, they're like, you eat sweets for breakfast? And I'm like, why wouldn't we?
Yeah.
So.
I'm more savory, but I love a biscuit. Oh, biscuit's so good. Who's the better driver? All right, for you folks that are listening, Tracy just rolled her eyes where I feel like she's going to say Sarah's the better driver. Sarah says Sarah, and I think she's coming to grips with some things right now. What is it about her driving? Is it distracted driving? Because we can take care of that right now. All right, you say Sarah as well. So we all agree that Sarah's the better driver. What is wrong with you in your driving, Tracy?
I don't have anything wrong with my driving. It's just...
She's a good driver. I would just say I'm a better driver.
Just better.
Yeah.
But there's got to be a reason.
Sometimes...
Failure to signal?
What? No.
I just let her drive because it's easier for her because she yells at me and she likes to tell me what to do.
Well, a lot of times she just doesn't look far enough ahead, in my opinion. And so, like, last night we almost got into a wreck, and I
rear-ended anybody? Have you rear-ended somebody?
You did, didn't you?
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
That's a story for a different day. But I don't know. It's just, like I said, she's a good driver. I'm not taking that from her, but I just feel like I'm better.
Okay, we do have a tiebreaker that we want to throw in here. Tracy, this question's for you. Who is Sarah's favorite basketball player of all time? You got to write it down. She's writing.
Okay, you ready?
Reveal it. You say D Wade. Boom! That's a way to finish. All right, Sarah.
I'm nervous.
Who is Tracy's favorite basketball player of all time? This is really tough.
This is a very tough one.
You don't know your sister?
No, she doesn't.
If you didn't yell at her so much, maybe you learned a little bit more about her.
I think we need to come on the podcast.
Don't look.
All right. We work through stuff. This is therapeutic.
Do I need to write mine down?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Sarah is going with that answer. You can show it to the camera. All right. And Tracy is now writing hers down.
Okay.
All right. So D Wade.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys ever met D Wade?
No. We've only been to one of his games. It was his last year, I think. So at least we got to go to one.
Well, at least you got to hang out with us, right?
Yeah.
Has this been great?
Yeah. We've
Early
had so
Christmas.
much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having
Yeah,
me.
this is like a big present.
Can we do it next
You're
week?
welcome. Season's greetings. Yes. We would love to have you back, but in all seriousness, we appreciate everything. It's been fun watching you guys play. Exciting things coming here this season, and it's just proud to have you a part of the UAB family, the UAB athletics program. And I'd like to say thanks and Merry Christmas to both of you.
Yes. Merry Christmas. Go Blazers.
Yep. Go Blazers.
Tracy Bershears, Sarah Bershears. Sarah's the oldest. They both like D Wade. Better driver, but she yells a lot. That was our lightning round. The Inferno podcast continues.
The if in life. It's a world of possibilities. If you go for a night out with friends. If you can keep an eye on your money along the way. If you know you have overdraft protection with no fee transfers from savings. When you get a low balance alert, it's easier to say yes to fun. If that sounds good, try Regions Life Banking.
Stay ready for the if in life. Regions Bank embrace the if in life.
Well, that's going to do it for the Inferno podcast, episode 17. We appreciate our special guest, UAB women's head basketball coach Randy Norton, two of his standout players, the Bershears, Sarah and Tracy, for joining us. Coming up Sunday, 1 o'clock, Bartow Arena. The Bershear sisters, their teammates, Coach Norton, they're going to be on display as they take on Alcorn State. Then at 5 o'clock, the men, Andy Kennedy, Blazers, they take on Arkansas State. Already a team that has knocked off the Memphis Tigers. Well, for all of the folks that make this broadcast possible each and every week, first and foremost, Molly Robinson, all the other folks, they're inside of Blazer Athletics. We appreciate you joining us. For all of those folks, I'm Landrum Roberts. Thanks for joining us here on the Inferno. This is the Inferno Podcast, the official podcast of UAB Athletics. Blazer fans, this is the place each week to get an inside look into UAB Athletics. This episode of the Inferno Podcast is brought to you by the Alabama Department of Public Health and Pearl River Resort.
This has been a special presentation of Tony Curry Radio.